The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.
Lining up, Adrian Noble, and here it comes. Hula kick, Canucks.
Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
Disappointment after disappointment after disappointment, man. My goodness. Well, let's just get straight into it. Obviously, first off, looking at the rest of the NFL. Obviously, Christmas time. Merry Christmas to all. Forgot to say that on the regular podcast with the boys. Merry Christmas to all. Hope you all had a good time. The Jets lose in embarrassing fashion on, I think it was Thursday night, to the Jaguars. It was so bad Zach Wilson got benched and is likely to be moved in this offseason. Absolutely insane just how much that man fell off. Baltimore beat Atlanta. Carolina actually beat Detroit. Surprisingly, it was a close game for the most part. The Bills mopped the floor with Chicago. New Orleans beat Cleveland, sadly. Seattle lost again. And I think that makes them like 1-5 in their last couple of games or something like that. Their fall off has been insane. Minnesota beat the Giants, which I don't know. It's a love-hate type thing. You love to see the Giants lose as a Eagles fan, but you hate that Minnesota wins because we really needed them to lose to lock up this number one spot. Cincy just continues, for the most part, looking dominant. They beat New England 22-18. They're looking to be fine. The Texans surprisingly beat the Titans, which is funny. Washington lost to the Niners as expected. Pittsburgh beat Las Vegas, surprisingly. Green Bay beat Miami, and Tua didn't look too good. And now we're learning that he's in concussion protocol again, and you're just like, my goodness, is this team not knowing how to take care of their quarterback, their supposed franchise quarterback. And I even saw something where it's like, people broke down where the concussion may have happened. And it's like ever since that concussion, he threw those 3 interceptions and played terribly. And everyone's just like, my goodness, how do you keep him in there? How do you not recognize that he has a concussion? How does the NFL not recognize? They have concussion spotters, and they didn't recognize when Devontae Parker had one. They don't recognize when Tua has one. It's insane. It's actually insane. Denver loses to the Rams, of course, in embarrassing fashion. Completely terrible, and it led to Nathaniel Hackett finally being fired. Tampa Bay sadly beat the Cardinals, and the Chargers beat Indy. So things are progressing pretty crazily for the NFL, especially as things heat up towards the playoffs. But we get to obviously the main event, just the disappointment in a way. We have the Philadelphia Eagles facing off against the Dallas Cowboys, and ahead of this game we learned Jalen Hurts would not be playing. But Dallas Goedert would be back. I'm pretty sure Avonte Maddox has been back for a couple weeks. If not, he came back this week. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson not back though. And I don't know. Like I said, I had expected us to lose this game, especially because we always trade with Dallas. But at the same time, I said, it'll be a close game if we lose. Guess what? It was a close game for the most part. And the thing that sucks is things started off so great because we got a quick touchdown. Or, no. I think we had a field goal to start off. Let me look at this. We started off with a field goal. And then Josh Sweat got a pick 6 on Dak. Absolutely insane to see. Cowboys came back and scored, and they scored again. And then, like, we were just going back and forth, trading, you know, boom, 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 going back and forth. But the big thing was turnovers. Looking at the box score, Gardner Minshew, 24 of 40, 355 yards and 2 touchdowns with 2 interceptions. And then he even had a rushing touchdown. Miles Sanders, 21 rushes for 65 yards. No touchdown there. Kenna Gainwell, 4 of 17. Receiving game, Devontae Smith had 8 catches for 113 yards. A.J. Brown had 6 for 103. Devontae Smith had 2 touchdowns, 2 really good touchdowns. Really well drawn up plays. Dallas Goedert, 3 for 67. And then you had Quez Watkins, who, you know, it's not to be mean, but he was kind of the cause of those interceptions. Like, if you go and look back, it was like many times like he was there fighting with the cornerback, and the cornerback just won the battle against him. And yeah, so it was like, it's kind of tough because it's like you really want to put this on the defense at some points, but then it's like at some points the defense would clamp up. You know, they'd stop them. They'd stop Dallas. Eagles get the ball back. Some type of turnover, a fumble, interception, just something. And it was just like, what are you guys doing? You know, like Miles Sanders, I think, had a really bad fumble. Gardner Minshew fumbled a couple times, and he had the 2 picks. You know, and it's just like, what are you guys doing? Then there was the pass interference on Darius Slay. There was letting up that 3rd and 30 bomb to T.Y. Hilton that went like 52 yards or something like that. It was just a bunch of plays that they shouldn't have let happen, you know? Like, there was many moments where they could have sealed this game away, and it's like, it's just really like tough to see. And it's like, the one thing I will say is I'm not going to play Dallas's game here. When we beat Dallas early in the season, oh, we had our backup in, oh, this and that, you know, this happened and this happened. I'm not going to play that game because I'm not going to stoop to Dallas's level, you know. Guess what? I could create what-if scenarios and be like, oh, if Jalen Hurts was in this game, they don't let up the lead, you know. Like, when they went up 27-17, if Jalen Hurts is in, they more than likely don't let up that lead. But that's just what-ifs, you know. And the one thing that was annoying about that is, oh, Cooper Rush, he's the next man up, you know, he'll keep us going, you know, and all that. So it's like, that was their words. No one was saying anything like that about Gardner Minshew. Everyone was saying, yeah, he's like a top 5 backup in the league, and he could help this team, you know, secure it. But no one was expecting him to play lights out. You know, I mean, he did play lights out for a backup, 355 yards and 2 touchdowns. And a rushing touchdown, even his lights out, even with those 2 interceptions and the turnovers. But, like, you saw it from me. I was like, oh, we're going to lose this game for sure. Without Jalen Hurts, we're going to lose this, you know. It's going to be close, but we're still going to lose this, you know. And it's like, you can do all the what-ifs and all that, but, like, I'm not going to stoop to Dallas's level. We lost because of ourselves. We lost because of our turnovers, because we kept fumbling the ball, because, you know, it was a bunch of 50-50 balls on those 2 interceptions, you know, where it's like you were relying too heavily on your receiver to win that battle instead of taking surefire routes, you know, that would have gotten the yardage, same amount of yardage, or even gotten better out of it, you know. And then sometimes it was just the only throw you could make, and you just have to leave it up to your receiver to win that, and both times he wasn't able to, you know. So it's like, I'm fully willing to admit that it was our fault for losing this game, you know. The receivers did the most they could, you know. The running back room, you wish they could have done a little bit more, you know. It was a decent game. Wish they didn't fumble as much. Passing, you got what you basically knew you were getting out of Gardner Minshew, and then even a bit more because of the fact that, you know, he went off like that. And then you just kind of look to the defense and you're like, wish I could have seen a bit more, you know. Because, I mean, you did get a bunch of sacks. You know, Hassan Reddick had 2 sacks. Avonte Maddox had a sack of his own. But there was also that one play. I don't think it was Avonte Maddox, but someone went in to try and sack Dak. And the sad part is Avonte Maddox got injured on that sack, and so now he's out. But someone went in for a sack on Dak, and they couldn't pull him down, and he ends up completing an absolute, like, crazy throw. So it was like, there was plays like that. You know, but Josh Sweat, 1.5 sacks in the interception. Like I said, Hassan Reddick, 2 sacks. Avonte his own. Kaiser White, Brandon Graham, and Ndamukong Suh each had half a sack themselves. They were pretty good in the tackling department, but also they were just laying up too many plays, especially in the run game. They were just letting them run through too many times, you know. And it's just like, I don't know, you wish you could see more out of this defense, you know. And then when you finally started seeing more, when they were locking down, you know, in that point where Dallas got to 17, and then they went, you know, all that time with not letting them, you know, get back into it. Actually, it wasn't even that much, because I'm looking at the boxer. Yeah, they let them get back into it again. So it's like, held them for a bit, and then just let them beat the absolute brakes off you, you know. And then it's like, I don't know, you did everything perfectly. You kept pace, but the issue was they didn't control the pace of constantly keeping themselves ahead of Dallas, you know. Like, I don't know. There was just more that could have been done, you know, but it wasn't done. And that's all you can say is, you know, this came down to the team itself not performing, just like that Commanders game, you know, where you could make it about what ifs and all that. But at the end of the day, this was a game that they fully had in their hands, and they just weren't able to close it. And it's one that you got to look towards, especially this late in the season, and be like, okay, you can't be making these mistakes come playoff time, you know, because there is no, oh, we'll just change it up the next week. Nope. You got to make sure that you're on your A game the moment you step in, you know. I forget. I think we just need to win one game now at this point. And we have the Saints and the Giants. I think we go all out to win this Saints game and maybe even this Giants game. Now, this Giants game, I think what they'll do is play a lot of guys in like the first quarter, maybe even in half of the second, get a decent lead, and then take everyone out, you know. After this loss, I think that's what they do, you know. I think that is the way they're going to go at this point. You know, originally I said, oh, they'll likely lose to the Giants, but I think after this loss, they want to win this Saints game to make sure that nothing happens, you know, that they for sure get this first seed, and they'll even do that by taking on the Giants, not full strength, but, you know, just getting that lead, and then just got to kind of be a bit worried, because Lane Johnson went down in the game, and that kind of turned the tide. Gotta hope he returns in time for the postseason. Same with Avonte Maddox. They said they're not rushing Chauncey Gardner-Johnson back. I doubt we see him back this season. You know, or the rest of the season, I mean. He'll probably be back postseason time. You know, if they get this first seed, that's 3 weeks with a bye. He'll probably be back. You know, but yeah, I think I'm confident in saying I think we win these next 2 games solely because we realize what's at stake with this 1 seed. You know, we saw back in 2017. This is not my way of throwing out early predictions, but we saw back in 2017 just how much that home field advantage mattered so much for Philly. They know that, and I think they're gonna try and just go all out at this point. They realize they need this 1 seed more than anything else. You know, obviously prioritize the health, but that's another thing. They see their health, they see the injuries they've been having. You can't afford to have a wild card weekend game. You know, you have to make sure you get that bye. But I don't know, man. Real tough loss, but just keep moving forward, keep chugging forward. That's all you can ask for with this team. With that being said, thank you all for joining for this episode of Game Day. And as always, many things in this life may seem impossible, but if you fight for your dreams will fight for you. Thank you, and I'll catch you on the next episode.